How you doing? My name is Oscar Moran and I work for Acbeyond. In the last pages we left off at page 13. Don't forget, this is the book. It's called Pressures and Temperature. It's on Acbeyond and also on Amazon. It's under Oscar Moran. So we're going to continue on the page where I left off. It was page 13. We talked about the gauges. These are the gauges right now that we have. These are the ones I use in the field. We talked about the low side and also the high side. Now, on the book itself, there's some stuff that I didn't put. I will put later on. But these hoses, this is the low side hose, and this is of course blue. And if you see, it has a small check valve. Okay, this check valve I use for the called low loss fittings or just check valves. The reason why, also the red one also has one too. Okay, the reason why they have these is because of, according to the EPA, it's, well, the laws have been there. It's the EPA is the Environmental Protection Agency that will give us a certificate. We have to take an exam and will give us a certificate that will allow us to buy refrigerant and work on AC systems, meaning everything related with refrigerant. That's the way they have what do you call it? That's the one of the reasons that we have to use that, so we're not gonna find. It's illegal to vent because of the ozone layer. That's what's illegal to vent refrigerant. That's what they make the laws that we have to go by. Okay, so don't forget, this is the check valve, or they also have the low loss fittings, which is another fitting, a bigger one, where it doesn't, refrigerant does not go to waste or vented in the atmosphere. So what they use is, this is attaching to the low side, and when you take them off, this one was two reasons. Like, you take them off so you won't get burned when you take off the gauges, and also the refrigerant inside stays in the hose. Now remember what I said before, if you're going to use it on one refrigerant only, use the gauges just for that refrigerant. 22 for gauges 22. If you're going to use another one for 07, make sure you get another set of gauges, because this is one of the reasons is because the oil. It's different oils with the different refrigerants. Okay. So now we're going to talk about, another thing. If you already have the gauges that you don't have, and the gauges that you bought, and the hoses don't have that check valve, you could buy them also separately. You can buy these small little valves attached to here, and also you can buy an extender one, the little small one with a little hose. You can also do that. Okay. Now we're talking about the okay, you want to talk about, let's see. Yes, I do not know how to draw, but just bear with me. I'm going to put this one here and this one here. Okay. These are called access ports, okay? This is your compressor, okay? We're going to talk about later on about the component, the four major components of the system. But these gauges, okay, if you follow the book it says that we have the low side goes into here, the low side of the compressor, okay? This will give you the gauges. As soon as we put in the gauges, it's going to give you a reading. The needle is going to go up. So you do not have to move the valves. You don't have to open them. They're already closed, all the gauges. That's one thing you have to make sure. So the valves are closed. If you're going to put on the gauges, right, you put on the low side, as I said before. You put on the low side of the gates and the compressor, okay? The needle is going to go up. If the compressor is off, it gives you like about 90, okay? And then when you put the same thing on the high side, and you put the high side here, and also it's going to be a 90. That's when refrigerant pretty much equalizes itself. Usually about 90, 95, 100. But the gauges on both sides are going to be reading the same. That's when the compressor is off, been off for a while. Okay. Another thing, that if you look at a compressor, we are going to talk more about it, is that this is called, wrong one. This is the suction. Okay, and this is called the discharge, meaning the refrigerant is goes in here. Okay. Now, to determine how to read the PT chart, we're also going to talk about that, and also these gauges have the temperature of the refrigerant itself in here. The one outside is to read the pressure, like on this side. On the book, if you notice the book might have the gauges. The blue side might have it here, and the red one here. It doesn't really matter where it goes, as long as you're reading the same. The blue one is on the low side, and also it will be in the blue hose. Some mechanics, like myself, sometimes we change the hoses, which it doesn't really matter, as long as you keep it in the same refrigerant. I might have the red one here and the blue one here. Now, to check, this is to check the pressures only, because you were checking the pressures, you know, wonder what's the air conditioner running on, what pressure should be running at, and what else you do with the gauges. So the middle one is your access port. If you want to add refrigerant, if you want to remove refrigerant, recovery, and that's what you need, the middle one. Okay. We're also going to talk about the low side. To open the low side, if you're looking at it this way, it's going to go up. Okay, meaning up is going to be, you're going to be able to have access to the yellow hose, because if this yellow hose is attaching to a drum, let's say that it's a short on refrigerant and you want to add refrigerant, you're going to hook it up into the drum in the middle. Okay, we're also going to draw a body, but we're going to try to see how the gauges work. To open this port is going to open from here to here. To open this side of the gauge, you're going to open from here. Okay, you're going to go up, which is going to be counterclockwise. If you counterclockwise to open, counterclockwise is to close. Okay, if you're looking at it like this, but if you're looking at it like this, you got to go up, which does give you access into the middle hose of refrigerant. Okay, another thing also, now the red one, if you want to open it, you got to go, which is this way, is same thing counterclockwise, but you have to go down if you're looking at it. If you're looking at kind of straight, you go down to open on the high side, and this one you go up to open it. So once you go down to close it, and this one will have to go the other way, down to open and up to close. This will give you access into the hose in the middle, whether you want to have refrigerant or not. Now remember, when the air conditioner is running, you don't want to open the high side. Okay, the high side is to read it. Also, if you want it, pull refrigerant out, pull a vacuum, and charge the air conditioner. Pretty much things like that. Okay, that's couple of that's the way gauges work. We're also going to talk about the other pages. We're going to talk about that PT chart. The pressure the difference between pressure and temperature, what pressure you should be running at. And before I mentioned in the other videos that if it's R22, it's going to be close, it's going to be 68, 69 it's a PSIG, okay, which will be a temperature is about give you 40 degrees coil, which we're going to talk about it later on. Don't forget, subscribe on YouTube, and we're also on all the other platforms. Okay, don't forget, and have a good night.